Hey guys, what's up? My name is Bernard and welcome to the channel and greetings from Cairns. So yes, this is our first trip out of New South Wales and it's essentially our first proper holiday ever since moving to Sydney. So there are two first impressions when we first arrived. Number one, this place is actually quite scenic because even from the town you could see the mountainous backdrop. And the second thing is that this place is hot. It's, to be fair to them, it's summer, but it's like being transported back to Singapore's weather. It's between 35 to 40 degrees here. So yes, I foresee us taking a lot of showers. So the first thing we have planned for today is something called the Kuranda Scenic Railway. So if you Google top things to do in Cairns, you will probably see this. And there are a couple of things that I would like to point out. Number one, we made this reservation one day before the actual activity. So you don't have to book way in advance. And the reason why we did that was because we wanted to make sure that the weather conditions were right before we decided to go for this, which is why we left it to the last minute. Number two is that we made this reservation from our accommodation instead of online. And we also opted for a pickup right at our doorstep. That is because we do not have our own car and the public transport here isn't the best, which is why we opted for the convenience and we paid a little extra, which is 136 per person. After a short bus ride, we arrived at the railway station where the train will be departing from. There is a short wait before the train departs, so to kill some time, you could check out the museum and the information boards about the history of these trains. After a short wait, the train started pulling into the station. You could tell that it was a part of history. It does not look like any of the modern day trains. Once you step inside, you'll realize it has an interior to match the exterior. There is no air conditioning on the train. This is a public service announcement. We were here in summer and it gets really hot and stuffy in the train. You have been warned. We got really lucky, we got the whole seats to ourselves. They just gave us a trip guide containing interesting information about this train ride, but I think it's gonna be used more as a handheld fan by everyone on board because it's so freaking hot. As for the journey and the views along the way, the train goes at a really slow pace. Personally, I wouldn't have minded if it went a little faster. Although the views aren't out of this world amazing, they are pretty decent. But don't set your expectations too high because you'll be travelling through some dense vegetation for some parts of the journey. As the train climbs higher, you'll definitely get better viewpoints, and one of the highlights will be the waterfall that you will be passing by. So we make a small stop at Barron Falls and we get to go down the train and take a short walk, and we'll spend about 10 minutes here. When we arrived at Kuranda village, we were greeted by an unofficial musical performance by the locals. So after a 1.5 hour journey on the train, we have finally arrived at Kuranda village. So let me give you an honest review on the experience of the railway. So personally, views wise, I think it was 4 out of 10. You know, it has its moments, but they're not mind blowing to me. And most of the time, it's actually covered with all the shrubs and trees, so you don't see great views all the time. As for the train experience itself, there are more cons than pros. So I think they designed it this way to be as authentic experience as possible. So everything is kept in a very, old condition. There was no air conditioning, so it was really hot in the summer. The train ride was very bumpy. That was fine for me, to be honest, but it was very noisy and you couldn't hear most of the announcements and the commentary throughout the whole journey. The air pollution wise also, it was not the best because of the train engines. So yeah, I think I'll give the entire experience a 3 out of 10. Yes.
I like it. I think it's a 7 out of 10. I would definitely recommend.
The next thing to check out was Kuranda village itself. This place is very touristy. What you'll see is basically gift shops after gift shops. This scene is not really my thing, so I can't recommend it, but if you love such places, it's probably as good as it gets. There are also 3 attractions to visit while you're here. There is Butterfly World, the Kuranda Wildlife Experience, and Bird World. So among the 3, we decided to go to Bird World because bird. I tried getting the birds to climb onto me, but they did not seem very interested. So this place is one of those open aviary concepts, so if you're afraid of birds, I think you better avoid coming here. Ooh. Hello. One flew onto me. What's he biting? You know that's a $500 bag. Hello? That's a $500 bag. The bird. Oh no, he's eating my... What's he biting? At this point of watching this clip, I realized how ugly I look with the bag all strapped in like that.
Oh, I think it's eating the banana soon. Have to get him more. I can't help you. I can't help. Hey, hello. Everything you try to buy is expensive.
Hurry up.
Please don't bite me. Oh, baby is biting.
He's not biting. Is this your first time a bird is on your hand?
Yeah, can I stroke it? Bye.
Oh no. They like me more. Ah. Hey, $500 bag. No. Hello.
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 How are you?
Was it recording? So this aviary is really small. The one at Singapore, I mean not surprisingly, but the one in Singapore is significantly bigger and the birds are friendlier and there are a lot more variety. So this one is really small. What do you think of the bird park?
Very expensive, but the birds are very cute.
So there's an airplane wreck right here in Kuranda. We are going to end off our visit to Kuranda with a river walk. Now that we're done exploring Kuranda village, we're going to take the Sky Rail down. The Sky Rail is basically what Singaporeans would call a cable car. When you visit Kuranda village, you have the option to come up via the train and head back down via the Sky Rail or vice versa, although it is recommended that you do the former. So when taking the Sky Rail, there are 2 stops you can make. One of them is to see the Barron Falls, but this time you'll be seeing it from the other side. So this is how Barron Falls look from the other side, and this morning we were on this side, over here. So the second station, Red Peak, is where you can get off and do some walks in the rainforest. This is probably going to be the coolest part of today. So there are like complimentary guided tours here at certain timings. We were lucky enough to be there when the tour was scheduled, and although I'm not a big fan of tours usually, I must say that this ranger was very knowledgeable and entertaining. The experience was a good one. So we got really lucky. For the last leg of our Sky Rail, we got a gondola to ourselves. Overall, I think that Kuranda village is still worth visiting. My favourite part was the walk at Red Peak. Everything else was rather touristy, so do manage your expectations. And that pretty much sums up our day. For our third day, we are heading to a wildlife park here in Cairns, but this is more than just a wildlife park. Let's go check it out. So the place we are going to is called the Cairns Zoom and Wildlife Dome. Basically, It's one of those adventure obstacle course places, but the difference is that they build it within a mini zoo. There are a few activities to pick from depending on your appetite for adrenaline.
Wonder Woman.
It says Wonder Woman.
Yeah, what does mine say?
Nothing.
Huh, really meh? There's no tag meh?
I think the green one is for adults. Green one is for children.
Seems like we're the only adults doing this.
We have parents accompanying children.
We opted for the mid-zoom course, and here is a look at some of the obstacles we went through. Overall, it's an easy course that doesn't require a lot of physical strength. I also felt very safe throughout with the harness attached. Unless you're afraid of heights, I don't think it's super scary, but I was borderline uncomfortable looking down. After we were done with the obstacle course, we went on to check out the wildlife. In all honesty, the wildlife variety here isn't that impressive, and I think it is more of an adventure park than a zoo.
So a very interesting thing about this wildlife park is that the enclosures have no fence, which means the animals are not necessarily in the enclosure. So for this guy, he is all the way there. He's like right here.
So after half a day spent at the park, we are finally done. So one thing to note is that I thought that we could do this activity if the weather was bad, but that area is not properly enclosed, so if it's raining, the water will leak through the roof. So that is something to note. Other than that, my thoughts on the park itself, I think it's not too bad, but honestly, I think I've been a bit spoiled by Singapore's zoos and bird parks, so everywhere else kind of pales in comparison. The obstacle course was not too bad either, but the equipment was really dirty, it was really smelly. I could smell the helmet on my head. So hygiene wise, it's not the best, but it is what it is. I'm going to wrap up this video here because for the next part of this holiday, it's going to be way more exciting, so stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. That's pretty much it for today. It's a wrap!